We are here with my funky hair and everything. Now, if you need the link for my website, give me a heads up and I can add it. And that is so that those of you that want to have a super chat after, you can have a super chat. I don't know how I made it here this morning, but I have. We had Australia Day yesterday, which was, one of those tense events that Australia is facing with the possible change date. Good old age of Aquarius we're moving into. Or moving towards, rather. Let's say moving towards. Okay, those are for divine masculine. Oh, Lord. Yeah, well, that makes about sense. It surely does. How have we been? Have we been enjoying? I'm telling you, a lot of this energy at the moment, we're directly experiencing some of the energy of Saturn moves into Pisces. I'm already seeing the trends now, so don't think it'll be landing just in March. No, it's happening already. I'm seeing it. And I went down the rabbit hole of explaining on Facebook. We did have the moon, I believe it was on, when was it? It was the 25th, I believe it was in Pisces. It then moved over to Aries, and it's going to be there for a couple of days. And it's funny, we do have quite a few Aries moons happening in sync with each other quite a bit this year, potentially because the nodes are going to be shifting there. Now, Aries is the first house. Oh, thanks, Star. Trust me, I haven't the last few days. The joy of being behind screen. It's a quick throw together. It's like that. How could you call it? It's like Band-Aid, put yourself back together again. I think divine feminine's there. Plus, at the moment, the moon, I believe, is in Aries. And so I went down the rabbit hole of explaining to a few of my friends that were getting a bit projectile on Facebook, especially around Australia Day moving through. That this year, the best way I can describe it, especially with Saturn, because we're going to have Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, which can be to do with religion, belief, psychology, the house of imprisonment, endings and new beginnings. And then we're having the North Node shift, which at the moment Jupiter's sitting there. So it's like, conquer the world, get adventurous, have more energy. So you're going to have a lot of energy. But at the moment, Mars is in Gemini. So it's almost like, what do I address first? And it's very opinionated. So certain zodiacs are going to find that very difficult. Definitely Gemini, definitely Virgo. Aquarius and Taurus, as well as Leo, are going to be finding these transits a little bit difficult. I did, for that reason, and I did chuck an email out for those of you that are subscribed to the website, and I shared it on Facebook and Twitter and, here on YouTube, that I have put a sale up. Although we can look at February as a quiet zone, you still can feel the rumbles in the first week to 2 weeks. The other thing is you really want to use that quite effectively in your life, because the tension points are going to come up in March. So I have put the sale up for weekend appointments, for twin flame bookings, for general readings, telephone and Skype as well. So if you're wanting one, grab it now. It's for February, because come March, there can be some things that you want to address ahead of time. Okay. That's one of that jargon out the road. So the way I described it was, Aries is the first house. And in the twin flame journey, you guys generally feel the energy before everyone else. And you're going to see it happening around you. You could be in hermit mode initially and then feeling that you need to connect back out with other people. But you also can find that people are going to become very opinionated. I had it in a bun, and so I just took it down. It looked really horrendous earlier. Giggle saw me. So how it can be, the way I described it was a bunch of people with their belief systems really in their ego going to a dinner party and trying to have a negotiation. That is how this astrology can potentially pay out. Be it that it's Aries, sometimes what we may need to understand, which is probably coming up in the twin flame connection quite a bit, depending on what wave you are, is there's no I in team, but there's no team without the I. So it takes two to tango. So there can be the mirror coming through, but also there can be the notion that you can decide. And sometimes that pressure point will come up because we feel, but what if the person doesn't know? What if the person doesn't get where I'm coming from? This can be in a myriad of contexts. Okay, so take it where it lands, but we can be personalizing things at the moment, and things are personal, right? Things are personal in the sense that you have your own beliefs, you have your own values. There are things you wouldn't do. That doesn't mean to say that's what's happening on their side. However, they will be going through the same simultaneous energy. Now, we did have Mars go direct. I've pulled Divine Masculine's cards. Yep, that looks about right, especially from the conversation I had with Twin this morning. Not that it was bad. Just a statement piece he made. So I'm seeing the context of that. I see Divine Feminine going through a bit of a shift, and I've pulled the joint connection. There is disharmony at the moment. So how can I explain it? Divine Masculine's planet, there was one that was direct, which was Jupiter, and there was Mars that was retrograde. Now, Mars has been in Gemini from August last year, and most recently it's gone direct. So it's a little bit like, you've been sick, and then you've got all these things you've got to catch up on. And again, Gemini it can be flighty because it's able to multitask, but add Mars in the mix. I better mute that, or you're going to hear all these ding-dings, especially if Discord people start chatting. Or is that my phone? That's my phone. Yeah, so their planets have been direct, but the problem with Mars and Gemini is it's which one do I address first? So it can be flighty. The other thing is, if you show up in any connection at the moment, very codependent, it's just going to keep slipping. It's just not going to balance because Gemini needs its autonomy, and especially inside the twin flame path, it can be it can be problematic because there can be friendship groups, there can be family related dynamics, it might be scheduling issues, value systems. It's complicated, so it's gonna shift. But at the moment, it's causing a lot of disharmony. So if you can be aware of that, you're going to be able to navigate this part of your ascension process, knowing that it's not permanent, okay? Because we're going to take things very personal. We're going to get very aggressive. Divine Feminines are going to get very aggressive, I'm telling you. I can say I'm handling it, but I'm definitely creating healthy boundaries. And so enabling also is going to be probably not going to work so well because we all collectively are going to go through a first house, which is, what do you want to do? How do you feel about that circumstance? What are you doing with your power? We just can't show up at the dinner party screaming. Let's put it that way. Okay, so in the context, should we pull a ruin cast for the twins? The other thing is, with all that energy, you are getting very hungry. It is probably better to go through a detox at this point. You may need to recharge that Mars energy. If you're super aggressive, probably, and this is more from a holistic, not from a medical point of view, you may want to, if you're feeling aggressive or feeling like, you're on caffeine like Kramer, you may want to, due to the fact that Uranus and Taurus has gone direct to Mars, has gone direct, being cautious of the red and the orange food groups. Okay, so you could be getting headaches, you may need to detox, add the extra because you have an overactive chakra. So if it was, and it could be because you were in hermit mode for quite a bit and you weren't depleting your energy and placing it somewhere into creative projects, into exercise, you're going to get aggressive. So through your ascension process, to keep yourself grounded, it could be to do a bit of exercise. You still can be accident prone. Avoid those food groups a little bit. Get extra fluid and try to not go to extremes of caffeine because Uranus and Taurus can cause nervousness. Agitation like Kramer. So just if you're used to caffeine and things to that degree, that's fine. But the other thing can be pacifiers like alcohol habits. A lot of us are looking at that. And especially come March, we're going to be really serious about that. And there can be restrictions or limitations in those areas. I'm going to mute the phone. because we were receiving phone calls yesterday, I always have my phone on mute, and I took it off and I forgot to put it back on mute. Okay, so let's look at the ruling cast for the joint connection. I think I know this one. I'm getting quite good at these, but yes, Saturn and Uranus. You're painting again. Well, that's good because you're utilizing your solar plexus and sacral chakra effectively. You're pouring the creativity in. Yesterday, ironically enough, you know, we had the moon, which is it's for the feminines. Your cycles can be very heavy at the moment, especially for those of you on your monthlies. Your cycles can be very heavy. Mood swings also can be there. So this is the ruin cast. Human being, mana. Okay, mankind, Aquarius, fire and water, Saturn and Uranus it links to. So this is the joint energy. So first house, the self, individual family, family members, friendships, associations, race intelligence. I did say it came up on Facebook. And especially Aquarius, it's deemed as the rebellious energy in society. Pluto's going to be moving there as well. So there's going to be a lot of changes in groups and belief systems and feeling we do and don't resonate. And what it's going to help is to dilute some of that, especially in the twin flame connection. If you have an issue maybe with their friendship groups, or you have an issue with their pastimes, or value systems, or there's an issue with the karmic and, you know, that cycle moving out. Because Mars is direct, some of these things are going to be addressed, and the pressure points inside of relationships this year are going to come up, but we're going to be cultivating those connections, and the twin flames are the way showers. So we tend to go through those things, and some of you might have gone through it last year, but you're also going to be leading the way with things. So generally you'll pick up on a transit in your ascension process, I would say three to 6 months ahead of time. So if you felt last year like you were go gadget legs and you wanted to get things done, it's particularly because you were tuning into the collective consciousness and you were preparing yourself. I believe there's a beautiful lady, Annie Botticelli, and she is a astrologer, and it was interesting from a psychic medium and somebody that covers astrology, really looking at what I spiritually was doing in my own path and as a twin flame, and really watching what was going on her channel. And she's already into March with her videos. So that preparation mode of getting things in order, really trusting your instincts. So it could be that you're feeling you need to collect something or get something done. Really follow your instincts. This air energy that is coming through is very psychic. You do also need to be very careful about the things that you tune into. Yeah, because energetically you can absorb other people's energy. Okay, so depression, blindness, self-delusion. So yes, in this connect, it's in the upright. It doesn't mean to say all of you are going to operate that way. There could be the circumstances coming up where you're looking at the twin flame path, you're looking at the connection with your counterpart, and you're seeing something, and you know, you're understanding maybe the situation to do with the tribe. You're understanding the situation maybe relating to a circumstance that you're going through, and there will be a mirror, especially if you have a blockage coming through. I'm honestly telling you, there's always going to be the mirror to what you currently are experiencing. I'm hearing the term pride and prejudice. That wherever you're hitting your head against a wall and you're frustrated and you feel they need to change something, it simultaneously is going on your side of the fence. So, you know, this frequency is coming up. Okay, self reassures us that we are all we need to be. No more and no less. We are dignified by having been made in the likeness of Gaia, and we are in a privileged position. And that really is being a twin flame. We do have some difficult circumstances, and I think sometimes we can even drop into an egoic experience, but we can bounce back out of it again, and we can come through. You know, it's almost like especially when we say to ourselves, am I the karmic? Always look at the karmic energy. The further into your ascension you go with my readings, which I'm going to tuck into the read in a minute, you looking at masculine to see what's going on there, to kind of gauge it and understand, looking at divine feminine, because I cover all three, and then the karmic path. At times I will even, and this is how I found my balance, is to check if I was bouncing into the lower frequency of a karmic attitude, especially with Lilith's transits, so that I could get my harmony. But usually you won't ask if you directly are a karmic. You will be looking at it and, you'll ask. A karmic won't ask, am I a karmic? A karmic will be in their egoic permanency, believing they're a victim, believing that things are happening to them. And, there can be more of the self-righteous energy. And sometimes they're not even with a karmic. Sometimes they're with the soulmate. It doesn't mean to say these circumstances are going to get stuck, because we're always growing and evolving, especially in the twin flame path. So there is something to do with you in your personal energy at the moment that is coming up within the twin flame path. And it's funny because there is an imbalance. I think we all can agree to that. There's some imbalances going on. Divine feminine also can be imbalanced. It's funny because as we move towards mid-year, there is a conversation piece going on between masculine and feminine. We already have seen for a while in the collective things coming up to do with women's rights, children's rights, things to that degree. So there are imbalances, but it can be like a battle of the sexes, but it doesn't have to be. It can be where you honor and know what you need and utilize your inner divine masculine to articulate what your needs are, and where the yeses are, where the nos are, what you will and won't do. Not just sitting on it, but actually leading by example and saying, no, this isn't going to work for me. Maybe that's a personal thing you're going through, but maybe this isn't something that's working. And there can be a thought that you're feeling. Number one, you don't want to fight. But number two, does it have to be a fight? It can be a statement piece where you're saying, look, that's not working for me. I do particularly feel there's a lot to do with conditioning that we're moving away from. And I think there's things happening in our families. There's things happening where we feel that we're understood. There also can be a lot of opinions coming from our families at the moment, where they have a standpoint on what we should and shouldn't be doing. And I'm seeing the moon energy coming up. There's a lot of emotions, but it's almost like sometimes we can be compartmentalizing those things and trying to put them behind. And I feel in the joint connection, they are looking at you in a high octane, but you particularly could be feeling, is there competition? Is there somebody else they respect more than me? What about my needs? What about my feelings? How is this playing out? And I do feel there could be, on both sides of the fence, something that both divine masculine and feminine have been dealing with within their own personal emotions. And sometimes these things actually aren't personal, but because it's been a repetitious pattern maybe that we've experienced in our own life, we're going to personalize it. So there's something in the emotions coming up. And some divine feminines have been in hermit mode, and it's almost like how would I say, like the frequency of what's going on in their mind isn't being articulated to us. So it's there can be paranoia. I think instinctually it's like not presuming that everyone knows what we feel. Definitely. There is all these big changes, and I think it's coming through in the collective in the twin flame path as very anxious. And this doesn't even have to just be with your twin flame path. This also can be, people around us, our friendship groups, our family, our working colleagues. There's something in a collective energy that's stirring up. And, it can feel quite karmic to a degree. It can feel that it's like, oh, God, what are we expecting this year? Is it going to be any better? Is this going to be okay? Do we have harmony and balance? I also feel for those of you that maybe feel, how can I explain it? It's like there may be an awareness that somebody needs to leave a karmic cycle, that somebody needs to leave something in order for a new beginning to come. Hi, Kerry. How you doing, Dale? Some of you may be hearing gossip that there is a breakup in the karmic connection. Some of you also may be feeling as though you're being watched on social media. Some of you also are quite wary, and it's almost like if, there's a difference between your instincts and, your intuition, the psychic energy, and paranoia. There is a difference. Sometimes the panic attacks and the PTSD can actually be kind of fogged in that mix. So you can be really concerned and you're embodying like that lower frequency energy of fear-based frequency. And it's like, am I going to hear something bad? There has been a little bit of that lingering through the psychic frequency most recently. And I do see that, there were instances where I was getting psychic downloads and it felt almost like there was this pending large situation that was going to come through. And so it may not necessarily be that you're wrong, but it could be just a signal that's coming to you that something's moving through. But if you don't like the PDF, what you can do is acknowledge, okay, great, and then breathe in and breathe out. And you're actually stopping it in its tracks. You're blocking it. I'm going to pull a clarifier on this because I do feel some of you are getting psychic downloads. I do feel there's a pocket group of you that are very, very focused on your own path. You're like, not my problem, not my monkey. I think that can be very healthy if you're detached. Yeah, it's almost like you're blocking it out. You're like, if somebody's coming to you, you're also not going to tolerate BS with gossip, naysayers, lower frequencies. We'll have to be very careful with how we deal with that. You're definitely trusting your instincts. So I do feel some of you do feel as though somebody's watching you. Okay, what is this? Some of you karmics are coming out of the woodworks. And it's, look, could it, so I always say this, and this is one thing I noticed further back in my path, is that sometimes we did believe that the karmic actually had only just a part with divine masculine. But sometimes if that karmic's really lingering, it's actually a contract with you. And it's because of something that you believed. And I had a revelation inside of my path at one point that I had I understood to a degree, maybe the behavior. And because of conditioning coming up, it was like, well, I'm a mother, they're a mother, so therefore I understand. And it was like, well, yeah, you can understand, but it doesn't mean to say you need to hold that, because psychologically, through me not releasing and accepting that sometimes we just don't get what we want, I was actually subconsciously holding the karmic there. And so as soon as I did that cord cutting, had this revelation, it was through a client where it came to me, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't say that. Instantly, within 24 hours, it shifted. Okay, so sometimes the contract is with you subconsciously, maybe because you went through something. But some of them I actually don't feel the karmic there point blank. So either is a pocket group of you that are going to be coming into union. But you're having to be extremely brave, and bravery inside this path, how do I put it, is it's almost exhausting. It is exhausting. It's like, what am I going to go back into now? Do I need to be very strong? Cord cuttings will only work if you have detached on it. It's almost like the energy is going to be so fluid. It's like, I'm so detached. I need to have forgiveness for you being an idiot. And it depends on the context of who that person is. I'm not pointing fingers. It depends on the context of the circumstance. Too broad. You get what I'm saying? And these are collective energies. If you want a more personal booking, really relating to you as an individual, you'd need to book a reading. Yeah, especially relating to the karmic, okay? You're having to be brave. Some of you are thinking, well, and it could be that they move towards you with conflict. It could be some divine feminines. It's funny, divine feminine, you're coming through quite heavily inside the joint connection. And it does really feel as though you guys do have a stronger position than you think. But there could be something coming up relating to your circle, relating to the individuals and how you have got caught in that web. You can get yourself out of that web and it can transform. But there's something in layman's terms, and I may do a reading. I'll pull a few cards because I've got this feeling there's something to do with the contract with the divine feminine and the karmic at this point. That's a bit of a blockage. This person may be just simply tuning into you at this point and feeling you're a bugbear. I do feel they're an awareness of who you are. I do feel they feel somehow you have quite a strong hold over this. I remember going through this. And it doesn't, even those of us that are in union, these energies do affect us as well. Okay? So, yes, unfortunately, a lot of karmics do believe that we're God. do believe somehow we're a witch or a magician and we have some play over these people, which I thought was really funny. I thought it was bloody funny. Due to the fact if that was the case, I would have been reconciled 20 years ago. 20. We have no power over people. We have power of learning. And the higher into your ascension you get, you allow things to come to you. You don't feel the need to force. You want something that's true and earnest. You want the person to feel comfortable, not obliged. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the karmics have not learned that. Okay, so what is this karmic situation, please? Yeah, magician. Manipulation of power. Yeah, there's something almost like they're feeling that they're lying to themselves in relation to this connection. There's butting heads. Yeah, definitely. They're not looking at you too happy, Divine Feminine. They feel you have shaken the world up. A lot of times if there has been silence and there hasn't been communication with Divine Masculine and the karmic path is going down, the reason it is happening that way is so that the person cannot blame you. They still will anyway. You know, they still will. Yeah, not understanding that they when they had what they had, or when they have what they have, it is their job to actually utilize that energy effectively, and they can't blame another person. So they're being very firm. They also acknowledge the fact that the connection between you and Divine Masculine is very strong, especially if they had subconsciously tried to weasel their way in. Yeah, definitely. They definitely say that they don't get it. This person has their own mind. Yeah. Freedom of choice, freedom of being who they are. Especially those in a karmic relationship right now. I feel there's almost this vibe where they're not allowed to have friends, they're not allowed to do their own things, but there's a bit of defiance. There's a bit of, no, I'm doing my thing. I'm socializing. Like I said, codependency inside of karmic paths at the moment is really going to go pear-shaped, because with Mars and Gemini, Divine Masculine is not going to feel suppressed, not going to feel controlled. They're just not going to have it. They're ascending. Yeah, they subconsciously feel somehow, because this person's behavior's changed, you're the cause of it. But it's actually the fact that this person's evolving. It's just very much a time of evolution and change inside of the twin flame path. And I do feel you may need to do a cord cutting relating to the karmic, especially if you're getting psychic attacks. Feel free to book a reading and I can coach you through that, because particularly I do see there's a bit of energy coming from the karmic at this point, really going in Divine Feminine's corner. Masculines. Okay. Masculine is aware of the conflict. Okay. They're really reflecting back on the karmic path. Hi, Dal. No, it's not. We're still doing the reading. I haven't got to the end of the reading yet. Once I get to the end of the reading, we'll gauge how many there are. Okay, there is this old energy of Divine Masculine, of just believing and not addressing things. There is this push-pull dynamic going on at the moment, and this shadow self is almost like where the thorn is in the side, it's showing them what they don't want. And you know, where they didn't have belief in themselves, it's got nothing to do with belief anymore. It's almost got to do with the fact that they're having a feeling that they're sick of the conflict, sick of third parties, tired of manipulation. This can be people projecting their needs onto Divine Masculine, and it can be projected out, especially for those of you that are communicating with your counterpart. I don't feel they're not in their wisdom. I feel they're thinking about it and they know better, okay? I definitely feel they know the conflict. I definitely feel they're cheating themselves out of circumstances by continuing this cycle. Yeah, this is something to do with a family, a tribe, an ex, a current karmic. They also know that in the past, you know, by being angry didn't necessarily solve it, but they have had to be quite outspoken with these individuals. They're coming back to the table with it and looking at it and going, okay, do I test the circumstance? Do I need to re-articulate what I need? Do I need to let these individuals, because in their heart they feel they're tempted to, but they also know the devil in the detail. They know that it can be quite karmic in nature. This could be gauging really what's coming through at a gossip level. This could be feeling as though people are using them to get information or money. They're very wary, very wary. Okay, in layman's terms of being inside the karmic contract and wanting to be with divine feminine, I feel with the conversation piece, I'm going to pull a chakra card, especially because I am getting that there has been for some of you a conversation with your counterpart. How many of you are in communication with your twin whilst they're in a karmic relationship? Because I get this vibe that if you've said something, where the heck are my cards? Excuse my French. I've got so many. I literally have a library of cards. Are you here, my babies? Where'd I put them? Oh. I should give you guys the 360 of my office. I know they're here. There they are. Heck. I get this vibe. Okay, so the communication, have you most recently, because this is what I'm saying here, it's almost like a conversation piece is played out, okay? And even if it was just merely based on the past and what had happened and how you saw things, they're really mulling over that. And also to do with the scales of fairness, it might be due to a circumstance they've had to care for a karmic, or they've had to do something, or they're with a karmic, or they're reflecting upon the past, regardless, depending on the context of how it's playing out in your path. What I'm saying is they're seeing both sides of the fence, and they're actually saying this karmic path has actually hindered the progress and the process of the connection with divine feminine. So I'm seeing if there has been, especially coming through in your conversation pieces, especially for those of you that aren't communicating at this point, it still goes through in the 4D. It's the emotions, the disillusionment. I'm seeing that they're thinking about that and they're feeling it's quite unfair. Something needs to be addressed. Yeah, channeled messages. They're really thinking about it. They might have personalized it, but they're actually open to it. They're open to perspectives. Usually it takes about 2 weeks to digest maybe your opinion. Back the Barbies. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do know another channel that does that, and I just don't think it's hot. I mean, it'd probably be really hilarious on this channel because I don't take myself too seriously. But I think you need to be that way. Have to get a whiteboard and we'll do some squiggles. Okay, so what are they doing with this? They're facing their fears. Yeah, they're getting grounded. They're looking at the direct foundation of this. They're like, look, there's an interference. Is it offending? Is it affecting the progress? Yes, 100% it is. It's almost like being inside a situation but knowing where you don't belong anymore, right? And almost trying to kid yourself and pull the wool over your eyes. It's not able to be done. Once you get to that, it's almost like we're our own undoing. Yeah, physical dolls. I used to do instructions. I used to get like a pen or a ruler. Sometimes it was a lighter, and I'd do some little simulations. And so we did say we were going to get some dolls, and I could say divine masculine, the karmic, and it was like, yeah, because people are visual learners, right? It's like, okay, Barbie, go to the party. I'd have to funk up divine, or the karmic's hair, right? Or is it divine feminine, really? Because by the time we've gone through our ascension, we look like dragged through the bush backwards. Oh God, Mars and Gemini. This is where the solutions are coming from. It's the conflict. You're going to have to be very careful how you communicate with counterpart, because they're already feeling the pressure point from the karmic path, and it's showing them what they can do and what they can't do. And is it measured? Is it able to be addressed? Is it able to be handled? But there's definitely like a pin pulling here. Divine Feminine, you instinctually are getting a lot of psychic downloads at this point in time, which I'm really not surprised by. I mentioned it previously, and it could be to do with an ending. Grandmother Earth is very much, in my eyes, Pluto, okay? Pluto in astrology links to grandmother. It's also ending scorpionic. There's an ending of some description. It's something old as well. Maybe that's stood the test of time and that has to be pulled away from. You could be dealing with an elderly person, but you could also be dealing with some older situations that you're currently looking at. And you're having to really start learning to trust your instincts. You've got to be careful with your intuition at the moment, because psychic attacks are possible. And if the karmic is tuning into you, or a darker energy that you've been tuning into too long, you may want to use the tapping energy and use crystals to protect your crown chakra. A lot of fluid, a lot of detoxing necessary. Sometimes emotional eating can come through with this. Some of you are like, I need to pull the pin. Am I waiting in vain? What am I doing in this circumstance? Some of you are just very relaxed and you're like, I know what's going to happen. I know they're wasting their time. I know they're inevitably going to communicate with me. I know they're inevitably going to move. Because why? You're educated on this. You know well and truly you are going to get your justice. But justice is, you will, how do I explain it? Justice won't be based on what you believe. It's a little bit like, well, you hurt me, so I'll hurt you. That's not justice. That's what my guides are showing me. It's more to do with a brand new beginning. It's more to do with having the confidence in yourself, knowing there could be something that you need to address, and you're going into your instincts and you're like, is it something to do with the separation that I need to address? Some of you can be picking up on a dynamic that's on its way, and you're intuitively guided to trust your instincts on what that is. I definitely feel the psychic downloads and some sense of a tower moment that's about to go down over here. You're probably going to pick up on. So use your time super productively and get ready for that, because you're going to pick up on it and it's going to feel a little bit yucky. Okay. Some of you do have 2 fresh starts. And they do say that the further into your ascension you get, if you've ever heard any twin flame guru discuss, it will be a choice. It will be, because once you're completely whole, you're not angry anymore. You're so matter of fact with things. You've looked at things so many different ways, like you've given every situation a lobotomy, that, in the separation zone, that fresh start becomes, well, what do I want to do? You get less ascension coming through. Your instincts are there, but this year is going to be super critical, especially because you'll find crystals will stop working for you. Okay? Because depending on how far into your ascension you've got, the further into your ascension you get, you're becoming a psychic medium. You're a crystal. You learn to flush and what to allow in, what to push out. You're less egoic and you're able to protect yourself more. But in the initial stages, there's lots of dips and ups, and it's like going on a really bad, ride. You want to throw up halfway down. There's 2 people here, okay? There's 2 people, and this is in divine feminine side. 2 individuals. Some of you are thinking, and this could merely be showing up 2 ways for you. A few ways. You are thinking about, do I need to move forward? Am I being stupid? You are moving forward. Okay? You are moving forward. I think it's a fallacy that we're not moving forward. We're always moving forward. I used to say to myself, what am I going to do? Click my fingers and, some dating app, there's going to be some guru that drops from the sky and they're going to be perfect. Not necessarily, because the further into it you get, you're more intuitive. So you can spot a karmic straight off the bat. Let's look at your cards. So some of you are like, am I being silly? Am I ever going to get justice? Are we always going to be separate? There's 2 paths here. Okay. It does not mean to say, generally, prior to you guys resolving your contract as twins, other people can come into the mix. And I love the whole notion of the fake twin, okay? That can happen early in the piece, but it's the catalyst awakening you. But it's generally very different, okay? This point in the game in your twin flame path, more than likely, you're going to be attracting somebody to teach you something about yourself because you're physically wanting to attract something that's safe. So could it be a soulmate? Yes, it could be. But look at it honesty and earnestly, is that person less stressed than your twin? And if they're not, and there comes a set of complications, you have to then ask yourself, is that taking me in a new vibration and a new direction, or is that taking me down the same rabbit hole as the counterpart? Because there's no safe. I mean, they're safe in the attitudes that we have showing up, right? They're safe in a sense of I can say yes, I can say no, I can say I do like this or I don't like that. But there's no perfect harmony. If it, for instance, was to do with the fact that we were financially broke, if it was to do with the fact that we wanted somebody to honor us, you are that. You're all of those things. But there seems to be, for divine feminines at the moment, there is two paths. Now, this can also play out in a fashion that because you're detaching, and detaching can sometimes look as disillusionment, I'm just saying, suddenly that individual is showing up, going from a page to a king. And that can be the same individual overnight. Very, very large potential. There is a fresh start, okay? There is a new beginning. You'll always know when they're going to come towards you because, that song, Who Let the Dogs Out? Yeah. Everyone comes out of the woodworks. They're giving you compliments. People are being nice to you. Suddenly you don't have back off written on your head. And you'll have people inboxing you in Facebook and saying, hey, hottie. And you're like, yeah, right, whatever. That's how you know twins coming. How many of you have had that happen in the last few weeks? Or have you been hiding in hermit mode? Okay, on to the super chats. What do I see happening in the twin flame path this week? Between now and moving into next month, I don't even know what bloody day of the month it is. I think our next live session is the next Friday. Let's look. Yes, it will be on the 3rd, Green's Mention time at 8:20. Okay, so that is in February. So between now and then, and it can happen earlier, it can roll over, I actually see a pushing forward of that, and I still see gossip coming through. I still see gossip. Create the boundary. Definitely. Okay, thanks, Giggle. I've been feeling my oats a little Eurodag. We spoke about feelings we both experience energetically. Well, that's healthy. Look, you're always going to hear it. It's how you interact with it, right? Especially as Mercury goes direct. Mars is in Gemini, Mercury sign. You're going to get people that are on the higher energy spectrum and the lower. So it's more be aware of the weather and get your raincoat instead of going, it's never going to happen. I mean, there's no way we can't have higher and lower frequency. We're on planet Earth, for goodness sakes, with people that are ascending. So unfortunately, in the collective, we're going to get that. And we just need to be aware of the ascension and the weather. And then we can, oh, heck, okay. Who was the first person? Kerry. What the hell? I don't know what's going on here, but there's something to do with the karmic path here, doll. Literally, I put the card down and it flicked and it moved to the back of the computer. That actually scared me a bit. I was like, oh, what the hell is that card? And I was like, oh, you're in two minds about this, okay? There could be something that comes up for you this week, right? it's funny because it's going to move very quick. There can be some information that comes to you very quick, but I feel you're having a change of heart. And this can be a changed attitude. You could actually see a different side of the coin in the context of the karmic. This could be coming through, through some information, through somebody else. But I feel it's something to do with this going to raise a bit of anger inside of you. But then it could quietly dissipate and it could be a 180 sort of thing. So could it just be emotion relating to the karmic cycle? 100% it could be. Could it be some information and gossip that comes through? I do think so. But it's funny because it was flicked out the way. And I feel it's almost like you're going to cast that as a blockage aside and your doors are going to open. And I think this is quite positive. Yeah. You're going through a little mini pocket. It could be a little mini pocket purge. But I feel you're working on that. I feel you're working on things. I feel in the heart space, there's still this push-pull. And I don't know if your guides have been coming through to you. It kind of feels this way to me, where you may have felt in order for this to move, I'd have to do something. And sometimes as feminines, we do feel that. Well, like, the only way this is going to move is if that person splits or if I actually, send a hello or a green flag of some description. There's a pressure point here, but I also feel some of the energy you're feeling has nothing to do with you. I actually feel the karmic's thinking about you. That came through in this read for this week coming through. I do feel there's trouble in this area of their relationship, and so you're picking up on it psychically, and you're going to have to protect your energy this week. That is one piece of advice I can give you. It could end up with the karma actually going through a split, and you may hear it through the grapevine, and it can happen very quickly. So tell me how it goes, Carrie. Who do we have next? Giggle. I had a song for you. Catching my breath, letting it go. Is that Kelly Clarkson? Yep, Kelly Clarkson. You'll have to listen to the lyrics. Oh, that's so defiant. I know the song. I love that song. Okay, so I will share. I absolutely love this song. You're going through a point in your ascension, and it's so funny. There's literally Prime Video. I'll share it with you in the feed, and the advert is literally that new movie that's coming out. And I think it's the one with J-Lo, The Runaway Bride, I think it is. Anyway, I'll share this to the chat. This is a synchronistic message for you. And this was quite a key song that I actually experienced going through my twin flame path. And really getting to the point, and I think because you are a Libra, it makes radical sense to me, where you're not being everything for everyone. Nobody is ever going to be everything for everyone. And so for you, Giggle, I do feel that song is really having this revelation, coming to terms with it, and just, what? I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I don't have to be everything for everyone. I'm not just going to skip to everyone's beat because you asked me to jump. So I do feel for you, that song, when I heard it, I so rocked out to it. I was like, no, it's so beautiful because it's that moment when divine feminine comes home to themselves. And it's like almost like your inner soul is crying, but it's speaking its truth. But you're going, no, I don't have to be those things. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to show up for you. I'm not your solution. I'm not your problem. Listen to the lyrics. It's absolute gold. Yeah, so you want a holiday, you want freedom, you want to be there for people, but you don't want to be the permanent solution because you're physically not, right? And so you're thinking, well, why do I have to be everyone's backup plan? And so it can be a collective wound, but it's very defined. It's kind of breaking out. I don't have a bad feeling. I'm hearing the term you could have an offer. I do feel this is from counterpart. It can be in relation to something you guys discussed earlier, and it can happen at a drop of a hat. There's a lot here where you're having to clear your third eye. You could be getting some psychic attacks. This person's showing up as a king, so I don't think that's bad, and it's twice. So if there was this notion where they came in and went again, don't stress. You particularly could be moving through some ascension, up and down, up and down. But nevertheless, I do see this as positive. I don't see this as negative. But people, and it could be a real heart-to-heart that you have on the next occasion. Yeah. And a candid conversation. I really see a candid conversation coming up. This is something that this person is aware of. So it's nothing that, how do I put it? It's not that, no, they're showing me something else. Could we act in lower frequency? 100%. We could, right? Even though you may have discussed this with this individual, you know, in some ways you're thinking, if I discuss this, if I mention it again, do I still get the same freaking outcome? I was going to swear then. Which is probably your guides and your energy, right? You don't want to be a bitch. But you're not, okay? I don't feel you are. I feel you're having to get to a point. It's very contrasting. Cause and effect, follow through. I see this is swinging in your favor, but this can be, I would even go far enough to say it could be a pocket where you could be a bit grumpy for 2 weeks. Don't let it get to that. You know, when the opportunity presents itself, breathing in, breathing out, articulating and creating the boundary, because I feel you're going to have a lot of people coming at you, right? And you're already at that point, that threshold, you're going to snap. So I do feel counterpart in a very grounded way, Dale. I wouldn't even say, is this personal? Because yes, 100% it is. If you say to a person, okay, I'm going to meet you at 2:30 in the afternoon, I'm just giving an example, and they're like, be there. You'd give or take, okay, something has gone down, 20 minutes, hour. That day, definitely contact back, right? When that happens repetitively, well, we ain't your mama. You know what I mean? And, you know, you're going to get in trouble. And I don't mean you giggle. You're like, look, you ain't stupids. There was a negotiation. We recommunicated the negotiation. You know, don't just be nice to me. Don't be manipulating me here. I can't be manipulated now. Let's talk some reason. And I think that's what's coming up. Because you're like, if I have to be, I'll be cruel. I will be grounded in my approach, but I do have that capacity. Do not take me there. So I see this healthy boundary, but there is something to do with your dreams coming true. I wouldn't be surprised if there is an offer. I'm going to see if we get a Sagittarius card, because I'm getting a psychic download. This is to do with a holiday or a trip or some blessings. This can be a reconciliation. Yeah, new chapter. 12th house Virgo for you. New chapter coming on its way. Yeah, your image of what you want is coming. So, like I said, there could be a week or two. I'm saying 3 weeks. They're doing yours longer. 3 weeks. There could be some anger. But I think this is with this person. I don't think you're going alone. I do particularly feel there's something to do with family. I do particularly feel that this person's continuing to show up as a king. There could be things that are separate where the person isn't getting, look, I really have been patient. I want my candy and I want it now. Okay, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. Do I think it's very soon? Yes, and I think go listen to that song because it's definitely got a message in it for you. Who do we have next? We have Research Clue. What's happening, doll? Yeah, I'm not getting on no plane. Nope. Not for me. Not right now. Not with Jupiter and Aries. No, thank you. I'm staying close to the ground. You'll see in the next 6 months. Yeah, no plane, no boat. No, nothing big. Small canoe. That's it. Jupiter's big. Anything big, don't get on it. Not yet. Hi, Research Clue. What's happening, sweet? I wasn't able to read the feed as things were going on. With their love life, can see 3 people around them. There's a conversation piece. Do they have a habit? Yeah, I feel you. I can see a conversation happening between 3 people. I feel this is a parent energy coming in, or an auntie, a grandmother. It feels a feminine energy around this person. I feel there are it's 3 people, right? Being removed from a circumstance, going through a process to fix something, and I do feel it's habit-based. I do feel they're super aware of problems that are going on. Maybe it was a pacifier to cope with stress levels. I feel they're very away from the karmic at this point in time. I feel there's a planning of an exit. I do feel the connection was very abusive. I feel it was very abusive. I feel they're actually realizing you can't, it's that old metaphor, you can't help those who don't want to help themselves. And I do see that they're realizing, both with their resources, their finances, they're having to be very resourceful. But I do feel that there's 2 individuals that are helping them, and they're moving through to get out of this situation. You could even hear it through the grapevine. You may be picking up on it psychically because it does feel quite tactical. They're doing what they need to do to get from point A to point B, but I don't feel this connection is very strong. I feel it's a tactical approach. It actually feels a little bit like, how would I say it? They're anxious, but they're also not stupid. Okay, so they're like, okay, I'm going to have to tackle this in a very careful way. It's almost like they're seeking another home. They're seeking a method out of this. But I really do think this person's quite abusive. They have to be very secretive. Very, very secretive. They do feel that they've actually lost money being with this person. They've lost money. They've lost sanity. They feel that the connection is one-sided. It's quite, like I said, it's quite an abusive relationship. Because of their wounds that they had in previous relationships, it's lingered on a bit. But this is so that they never actually go back to that again, okay? So that dark energy, what you can do, because you're joint, right, is by actually you not getting scared and getting into this vibration that you're like, right, I'm never going to be scared of this again. And it's almost like you're embodying their energy and you're breathing in and going, I'm going to move forward and tackle this. I'm going to move forward, and I have the courage to tackle this circumstance head on, because I actually think that's what's going to happen. Because there is a wound coming up. I think it's a 3D circumstance, but they are actually going to be addressing this. I think this is probably the first time in a long time they're going to be tackling it, but they're actually getting help, so they're not in it alone. I don't feel that help's coming from you. This is a different way of dealing with it. I do feel exit stage. I do feel exit stage. Okay. There is an exit stage. There's people around that person helping. That is what I see coming up for you. Okay. Marie, how you doing, my love? Marie, I don't think this is your energy. I think this is going on with something else around you. Okay, you could be going through a physical change yourself. This change may be towards a direction. You also could be feeling, do I need to pull the pin on a circumstance? Because you can't, like, your crowning energy is the Tower, but again, I feel it's more towards a psychic energy. Hi, Dale. So it could be that you're tuning into that person and there's something they're particularly going through, and it can also be that you feel you need to change something quite drastically. It's like, do I quit? Do I cut the circumstance out of my life? How do I address it? I don't necessarily feel you are completely ending something, relating to this person. I feel it's more you're picking up on it psychically. There's something big in a sense. Now, in your own personal life, could there be something that you're feeling you got to tweak and shift around? And I feel that if that is so, this is separate to love. I definitely feel there's a separate subject to love coming up that you want to address. And it's like maybe for a while there you felt that you had to keep all your ducks in a row and continue the status quo. Could that be relating to career and something to that degree? Possibly. So it could be that you feel now you're having a different reality check to do with it. Take care, Chris. And research clue. Change it. Could be a change of contracts, could be a change of jobs, but I definitely see here in the mix of a romantic situation. I'm hearing the term conflict of interest. I do feel a messy situation. I don't feel they're stupid, though. I feel they know what they want to do. Is there something you were picking up on psychically? Because I definitely pick that you're picking up on something. Is Marie in the house? There's something big going down. Look, it definitely is becoming unbearable. This can either be, and I'll just say it because I've got to move on to the next person. This can physically be some things that you're changing. A. B, it could be relating to your path. Sent a text this week after a year, no response. Yeah, don't freak out. Usually if you're sending a text, it needs to be a statement piece where you don't go into it going, okay, because two ways. You're basically sending the green light, right? So it depends on the context of what you said. If it was to get a raise and to reach a communication point, that's probably never going to work. If it's a statement piece, more than likely, you're going to hear from that person when it's safe and suitable. So there's a way you can go into it. Especially with karmic relationships in the mix. So give it usually 2 weeks. More than likely, you could have a very subtle text message. Sometimes you can even have a phone call. especially because they will be presuming if you have messaged, it means, well, they're, you're pretty much fancy free. So, they'll give it a go, but at times they may just text. They're making reference to something you mentioned in it. Yeah, they're thinking about it. Whatever that was, they're thinking about it. But this is coming to a head. I'm going to pull a clarifier on that. You're going to have to trust your instincts with it, how to address it. But yeah, look, it's not bad. It's not bad to actually message. It's not illegal, right? Just depends on how you approach it. This person, I think they thought that maybe you were in a different space than you currently were. Now they're back up in the head going, oh, I thought that person had forgotten about me. So you've reopened it. They do care about you. There definitely is. Yeah, you got communication coming in. So it's just unhashed some things. It's almost like, a flat line, and then suddenly it's back again, and it kind of feels like it's moved back in, and they're looking at it back on the table again. So whatever the context of the conversation was, don't go into the tower mode. Don't feel that, it's all crumbling. It's almost like biting off the, things are moving. Let me put it that way. Things are moving. Don't presume, be open. I felt DM felt my message was cold. It depends on the context of what you said. Look, sometimes the truth hurts. You know what I mean? I still see communication coming in. I do. They're just things that maybe the person didn't see. Yeah. Like I said, depends on what you write. Ben, what do you want to look at, my friends? How are you, Ben? Still got to update the Discord settings. I have opened a public survey, and I noticed in the lower one. How are we doing, Ben? I've had moments on the path, long story short. I need to go to Wild Horse Mountain in... You need to sharpen your sword. Oh, what's gone down for you? Oh, look, I'm telling you, spiritually speaking, we are going to go through Dark Night of the Soul energy. For those of us that haven't completed that cycle, honestly, the more no mountain, no, and I'm not saying don't go to a mountain, but you have to ask yourself, can some of those things be found spiritually within wherever you are? I mean, because if we need to remove our environment, that's really saying something about our environment, right? Not really to do with us finding ourselves. It's like, hey, I'm sinking in quicksand in my current dynamic. That is a separate energy to physically needing to be on a mountain, because then it's, are we running? Do I need to run? Do I need to be free? And like the moon is in Aries. So in some shapes, our wounds are going to come up. And it's going to be like, especially masculine energy, hunter-gatherer, get out there and, do my thing. And there does need to be this independence. So, maybe having a date with yourself, having some time where you can be yourself and get down to that kind of masculine kind of frequency. I'll see what comes up. Let's see. I moved to Brisbane because of the Glasshouse Mountains pulling me there 4 years. Okay, go on a road trip. Smell the fresh air. Meditation sometimes is something as simple as sitting and listening to the feelings that come up, being present in the environment. Probably more aromatic than a lavatory. Would you agree, Ben? With 5 children. pleasantly. What have we got? Yeah, the moon in Aquarius has mixed a lot of us up. It's creating energy, moon in Aquarius. It can be things to do with home and family, things to do with your future. You know, being part of the team, but separate of the team, having our own personal kind of vibes. You can be feeling, how does life fit in? Like, where to from here? Where to from here? Vibrations around you, at times you're going to need to detox, because vibrations around you could be a bit moody. And so that's going to affect your aura, but it doesn't need to. It feels like it's time for balance, like especially within all your most intimate connections and your contracts. You also could have a bit of concern to do with your path moving forward. This can be in spirituality. This can be to do with money, how it's going to come together. Sometimes synchronistically, the universe just kind of hands it to you and it just all kind of dives and moves through. And it was nothing that you anticipated, because there was just this openness and acceptance. So universe gives you what you need. In this context, I think the mind is involved, which is a very common humanistic experience. It's like you're trying to get into this notion of, okay, I need to map where I'm going. And I think the universe in a spiritual sense is saying, but it's just naturally going to come towards you. There's anxiousness here, Ben. There's almost anxiousness that, you know, you need to do something, you need to get in, you know, it's that old style. You could be regretting declining an offer. Or just second guessing yourself, you know, that's all. I'm going to pull a card for the Mountain. I think in doing such, it's going to give you some clarity of what you need to take on, what needs addressing ASAP. And I think it's almost like it's going to be necessary. That's what they're showing me. It's almost like you felt you've been neglecting the soul, neglecting self, neglecting the soul, you know, and by having some separateness just for a moment, it's going to help you reconnect. It's not selfish. You may be feeling it's selfish, but it's not selfish. I don't know why I'm getting your baby's coming early. I'm getting that. It's not early, but it's earlier than you think. I think that's what I'm saying, Ben. Feels a bit earlier. April's not that far. You're like, what? You'll know she'll go into nesting zone. Just keep an eye on her. She'll go into nesting zone. So, trust your instincts, Ben. I do see you doing it, but you could have a little bit of guilt. But you're going to have some interesting revelations. Just sit with it for a few days. Don't freak out. Yeah, no shit. Well, my daughter will be very, very early because she's having complications with hers. So she's been observed weekly, I believe. Yeah. Okay, Dawn. How you doing, doll? Oh, you're ready. You're ready. You've been sitting on something and trying to be very patient. You're like, is there a divine timing to me saying 101 Dalmatians? I hope you get that. I hope you get the context of what I'm saying here. I feel you've been holding your tongue. I even think that song I mentioned for Giggle is for you as well. Let's cut and paste it here. Go and have a listen to it. I think it is relevant for you too. I'll put it in the video after because you might not be able to grab it. Who knows? We'll see. You should be. Okay, you're ready. You might need to be ready for something, but I feel it's more you're ready. You're ready to articulate something. You're ready to let the cannonball out. You're ready. You're like you look at this woman. This isn't the heart of it. You're like, I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying. Like you've had a lot to say. Lot to say. There's been some conflict. You're like you're trying to be patient and fair and understand and all the rest of the jargon, but for gems it's hard at the moment. With the Justice card, it's like some things sometimes it's like listening to people project all day. It's a burden, right? And so I think in the context of that, in your twin flame path, that has been happening and it's felt a little bit of a burden. Even though you can see the karmic quite manipulating. Does that make sense? You're like, if this person hated it so much, they would have left by now. That's what I'm hearing. I do feel your twin gets jealous when you communicate with friends. I do feel they want to spend quality time with you, but there's a bit of micromanaging coming through with them with you. That may be because the karmic does such. They don't want you to be in a relationship. It's funny because at a point you might have been thinking that they were moving, but you're thinking of it. You're like, I can do that too. It's like two kids in a schoolyard, right? Two BFFs going pear-shaped. You're like, look, I'll bloody go. If you don't, I'm going to. You drive me crazy. This is so sad. Look at you two. Two peas in a pod. Taking offense to each thing that each one is saying, and both of you go home and think about it. You're mirroring each other. You both want happiness. Oh. Now, if the shoe is on the other foot 100%, this person knows that that's a fact. They do feel they've got a lot of shit on their plate. They still feel committed to you, but you're like, look, if I keep committing to you while you're in a commitment, I'm going to go crazy. Right. I think they've had some crap go down this week, and there's been a bit of projectile vomit, metaphorically. Dawn, I just see you really losing your shit. I don't think that's a bad thing. Okay? I don't think that's a bad thing. That image that I used to get of you guys a while ago was coming back, and that passionate outburst is leading to some. I'm going to pull a chakra card. I just very much see your twin. I don't know when this is happening. They're not showing me. Maybe because the catalyst of it is something that's about to go down. I think through a fight, some of the raw emotion's going to come through, and it could eventuate in some very unexpected turn. Let me put it that way. I see this person in the kitchen kissing you. It's unexpected. Yeah, it's unexpected because you're like, what? It's just like a heated moment. And then maybe you've got no thing to hide behind, that there's nothing there. Do you know what I mean? But I also see a heated conversation. I'm telling you, it's just there. It's like, I even had that rule inside my twin flame path. It's like, if we're fighting, you know what we should be doing. Not in the schoolyard. I'm telling you, this person is going to lose there. Yeah. Miracles. Yeah. Surprise. Unexpected. You're going to be like, what? Because at the moment, you just look at them as someone who's constantly arguing with you. But I do feel a catalyst to it is something quite unexpected is coming out of this. It could eventuate in an argument that moves then to a revelation. That's what they're showing to me. Who do we have next? Twin Flame Love Potion number 9. Welcome in the house. What are you dealing with? A relationship, a contract. I'll tell you, Dawn. Good luck with that one. Oh, come here, love. I'll give you a kiss on the cheek. I'm hearing that song, She Drives Me Crazy. Well, the first thing that came up is a connection. So, feels quite calm. Oh, no, man. I feel you got this in the bag. I don't have a bad feeling. I think you've done quite a bit of work on yourself. Your energy feels very calm. I do feel you've had some complications that you've had to deal with in your own life, but they're being character building. They're making reference to a child. Do you currently have a child? Yeah, because that's how they're thinking towards Divine Feminine at the moment. She drives me crazy. You know, that's where they're like. Okay, so they're making reference to a child. This can, yeah, do you have a child? I don't know, you've had some challenges. You've had some challenges, love, right? You've made it. You're doing really well. Be really proud of yourself because it's not going to stop it. It's not going to stop it because, you know, we've had kids or we've had a challenging path and it's never going to block that from being an issue, okay? So they're making reference to that. They just want you to know that no matter where you are on your path, it's not a problem. It's not, you have dealt with, I would say probably they're showing me 6 months, 6 weeks. Could even be a reference of falling pregnant, so just be careful with that one. But more so it feels past tense energy. 6 months, 6 years, some dramas. But I feel most recently you have actually had maybe some challenges that you needed to deal with, but you're coming out of it. That's what they're showing me, just coming out of it, and you're able to methodically deal with a lot, almost like you're a feminine and a masculine simultaneously. So I think this is quite positive. One of your children is very psychic. They're going to give you a psychic message. I feel there's something they're going to say to you, and it's going to be a little bit spooky. Okay? Listen to what they're saying. Your love interest feels like they're right around you. Be it you're in communication. If you do reach communication, if you're not already, I'll be really surprised because I see communication here. They're watching you. Yeah, but it's one in particular. I think it's the old. Is it the older one or the younger one? They're quite close. What all they're making reference to is one of them is going to give you a heads up. And I do see communication coming in. I do see this person watching you. I don't know where they're watching you. They're watching you. They're aware of some of the challenges you've gone through. Could have been if you're doing tarot readings, but it might have been on social media. It could even be on your Facebook page, something to that degree. But I definitely get this feeling they may have picked you for somebody that was a little bit soft. Okay, they're not saying that anymore. They see you to have a lot of integrity. They also see you to be a go-getter, somebody who can deal with problems and actually address them and still come up classy. Were you having problems with an ex? Are you having problems with an ex? I'm being shown two people. I mean, twin flame path's always a problem, right? Not permanently, though. Not permanently. It's an ascension process. They're making reference to two exes being pains in the asses. Okay, I don't know whether you're going down the rabbit hole of trying to pursue that. Could be restraining order. They're problems. I'm saying they're problems. Okay, I'm seeing physically maybe justice system of some description. I do feel it's going in your favor. I do feel you're protected, but trust your instincts of what you need to do, especially when it comes to the context of you, your kids, and the rest of it. I do feel your counterparts watching you though, but you could be particularly feeling that you're jumping through all these hurdles and like, where is TF, right? And I'm actually feeling this is something inside of you that you had to really face on your own, but they're doing the same thing in a different way. But it's when you actually address that, you're going to be so super proud of yourself because you're so close to the end there, right? Once you do that, I do think everything's going in your favor. And I'll also see a windfall of money coming your way. So especially if there was conflict and it was like contractual and having to really cycle it out, I think this is going in your favor. I do think this person's going to be able to come in when they need to. I just want you to really focus on cycling this out because that's part of it. And once you do that, I actually do see, number one, they are watching you. Your guides are never going to give you anything you can't handle. But the commitment and the connection, I do feel the twin flame path's still there. You've had a lot of dramas though, so it does make things super depressing. But it's almost over and there's going to be a brand new chapter in love. Okay, so just trust that. And I think one of your kids is going to give you a heads up about it. That's what I'm seeing. I hope that helps. Who's we got next? Oh, have we done? Cha! Don't forget, we do have the sales online as well. And yes, we do have content coming twice a month for your star signs, as well as weekly content for the twin flame path and lives every Friday. I was a bit late today. I'm sorry. This is a bit longer. Have to go into editing after this, and I have some clients as well today. Cha, how you doing? Any song coming through for you? Oh, God. It's catching my breath. No, your song is a Metallica song. What the hell? But I don't think it's... Cha, do you have a funeral coming up? Oh, this is quite an emotional song. Do you have an anniversary of someone that's passed? Parent figure, grandmother, because this is quite... Yeah. There's yours. Who do you have around you at the moment that like has an anniversary energy, doll? Okay, well, that song's for you, but I feel they're around you. Are you feeling very melancholy lately? Have you been connecting in with one particular like guide or individual that are transcended over? Because it feels they're giving you a message. No, that's your bloody guides intercepting. Yeah, because that song is a real deep song. It's the sound of silence, but it's who sings it. It's how deep it is. It's like, oh, okay. I do feel you've got a guide around you at the moment. So there can be a bit of depression, a bit of like, is this as good as it can be? But I feel if you're asking your guide to help you, they're connecting with you. They're acknowledging that, you're ready for a new chapter. But it's like they're coming in. There also could be an anniversary of somebody separate. So it doesn't even have to be a biological parent. It can be a memory. It can be hearing something. But it could also be you feeling like there's a death of your old life going on and there's a brand new chapter. And it can be very almost like, you can have moments of sobbing and then it's coming back, but it's a rebirth there. There is this connection from the past coming back. You're thinking about the separation, but I'm definitely getting your guides coming through with that song. At times you do get mad and you think that this person really played you. But then there's other times you think to yourself, no, there was the connection. This person's not a bad person. Some cross wire or some description's gone on. Maybe they misinterpreted my intentions towards them. I feel you also pick up that there can be some shame towards the karmic path with that person. Are you serious? Yeah, well, that's what came through. It was really like, I love this song. It's a beautiful song. You do have the star card, but you're going through an auditing system. Yeah. I think they can handle it. I think you're underestimating them. You definitely have your guides coming through there. I want you to listen to your guides over the next week because they're going to send you song synchronicities. If you have them a question, ask them because they are communicating with you. They also feel you need to look after your health a little bit better. Make sure that if you're feeling off, go and get it checked because you're getting a bit run down. I do think you're going to bump into this person, but I particularly feel you're kind of thinking they're never going to have the guts to communicate with you because of what happened in the past. But my guides are showing me they're going to. It's your belief system. There's a little bit of disillusionment. Sometimes it's almost like you don't want to be spotted. You're thinking, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. Thanks for the super chats, guys, and the donations. Yeah, you're just wondering, is it going to get better? You could have some extra goals that you're ready to achieve this year because you don't want to experience the stagnation. I do think you're bumping into them, but my guides are also saying stop hiding. Put your head high. If you're going to that location that's close by, I'm talking in code here, but just put your head high. Turn up in society. Okay, I'll see you guys for the mid-months. As Giggle mentioned, yes, we do have your mid-month romance zones coming out. Star signs twice a month. Remember to click the bell so you get the notification and the twin flame path, the trio set. So come through and take a look. If you want a booking, go to the link directly below for private sessions. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.